Hi, my name is John Kim, and I'm a therapist who went through his own rebirth. I share my feelings and revelations. I believe in casual over clinical and with you instead of at you. I come unrehearsed on purpose because self-help doesn't have to be so complicated. Did we or did we not get into a fight the other day? I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to Vanessa, who is sitting right next to me.
We did.
So I am using one microphone, and what I actually like about this is because Vanessa and I can talk over each other, having a one microphone forces only one person to speak at a time.
Oh, now I see your reasoning for that.
I actually think, all jokes aside, I think that if you are, if you want to have a conversation with your partner, I know this sounds really dumb, but bust out a microphone. It doesn't have to be plugged in. And the rule is the person holding the microphone can speak only, because what we do is we talk over each other all the time, and I am guilty of that as well. So Vanessa and I just had a fight recently. I don't know if it's a fight, but I love the idea of using true life things to help other people. So I'm going to give the mic to Vanessa, and she's going to tell you what happened.
So much pressure to be the first one to go. Yeah, and what you were saying about the microphone's interesting. We call that a talking stick in grad school. We'd all have whoever had the talking stick was allowed to speak. So the fight, to your point, wasn't, I don't think, really a fight. It was more of like a tiff. But we had a bit of a tiff this week around something that was seemingly simple or maybe silly, but then we're able to, I guess, in hashing it out, get to something a little bit deeper. So the easiest way to describe it was I woke up and went to make my coffee. So John always leaves in the morning, and I usually kind of hang out in the morning and have my morning alone. So I woke up to go make my coffee, and the coffee pot was in the dishwasher. And the way that John had loaded it in the dishwasher, he hadn't popped the top off of it. So it had gotten warped by the hot water. And so the dripper thingy wouldn't work. And so I sent him a text message just saying, like, you know, the thing warped and now I can't make my coffee or something, with like a crying face.
Cut to me at Blue Bottle typing feverishly. I see the text. The text that I ruined the coffee plastic thingy so she can't make coffee in the morning is not what bothered me. So when she said that, I went into solution mode. I said, go on Amazon, buy a new coffee machine. I'll take care of it. Today, can you just use the French press? So far, there's no fight. I'm not bothered at all. And then I get home, and we were talking about, I mentioned, you know, should I get a new coffee pot or not? And then she mentioned that, you know, it's wasteful. And I totally agree. I don't want to waste things in the world. And then it got to a point where we're kind of going back and forth, because I was like, is it really wasteful? It's a broken appliance. So it's like if you broke your TV, you would just go buy a new one. You wouldn't say that it's wasteful. And also, it's the lid of a coffee pot. It's not that big of a deal. And then she said, you really need to slow down. Something like that.
Well,
this is where it turns into a fight.
I didn't just say it like that. I was being quiet, and I was listening to your point, and I was trying to say that, you know, I hate wasting things. It always bothers me. And then at some point, I said, like, in larger kind of thing here is sometimes I just wish she would slow down. That's how I said it.
She also had a knife in her hand. So she said, I wish you would slow down. And so that's when I start to get bothered, because now it's not about the coffee pot. So for me, to put a little bookmark there, growing up, I was the spaz that the kid, everyone told me to calm down, slow down. And so for me, that was a very sensitive topic. So her telling me to slow down made me very defensive and reactive, right? And me being aware of where that's coming from. So this is where the road forks. Like most people, I think when they feel something like that and they feel their defense is coming up, now it turns into fight. Because then I could have said, well, I'm this, well, you're that, and suddenly we were picking up the tug of war rope. But I told her that the reason why it's triggering for me is because when I was a kid, everyone told me to slow down. And it's a theme. And I understand that I kind of need to slow down, but there are also parts of myself that is a spaz, that is a mad scientist and loves juggling, spinning many plates and all that, and juggling many projects. And that part of myself I actually really like. But her saying that, John, you just need to slow down, that kind of cut me at the knees. And then from there, we started arguing. Now, knowing Vanessa, once I explained this to her, she may have taken it as, oh, I'm doing something wrong now. Like, she may have taken it as me now shaming her, blaming her, or any of that, because based on her story, then that would also be triggering. No? Yes or no?
Yes. And I think that, so this conversation carried into the car, and we were sitting in the car, and for myself, when stuff like this happens, it's tough, because I think that some people from the outside might look at it and see, or look at me as like I've checked out. One of the Gottman's 4 horsemen, I can't remember the wording he uses, but it's this idea of like checking out, right? Like you're not there, you're not present anymore. And it's usually by like people looking off into the distance or not making eye contact, that kind of stuff. But for me, it's actually a way of slowing myself down and forcing myself to listen without talking over the other person, and also being really quiet and mindful of what's happening in my body. So in that moment, John is explaining kind of what the deeper trigger was for him, and what was happening internally for me was like my face was heated, I could feel my heart racing, right? I mean, we're having an argument. It's not like it's a huge fight, but any little argument is going to trigger some kind of like internal response. So I'm listening to him while simultaneously paying attention to what's going on in my body, and not allowing myself to react or like verbally lash back, because I want to give him the respect of hearing what he's saying.
So the old John Kim would have taken her silence as her checking out. She doesn't care. I'm talking to her. Why is she not talking back? But now I understand, and of course she's expressed to me this is how she worked. And so me knowing that is crucial, because when she gets quiet, I know that it's not coming from her not caring, but she's processing, she's dropping into her body, she's doing what she needs for her, right? And so then it's me accepting that, and then going with that flow. Anyway, obviously it wasn't a giant fight, but the reason why I think this is really important is because most fights aren't about what's on the surface, right? So this wasn't about a broken coffee mug, a coffee maker. It wasn't about me leaving things in the dishwasher, that aren't supposed to be there. I mean, here it would be if that happens every day, then of course that's what it's about. But usually fights are about things happening underneath, and if you could address what's happening underneath, then what you guys got mad about just becomes frivolous, silly.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, and my way of being able to get there was twofold. It was me being quiet and figuring out what was happening in my body, but it was also because I wasn't talking over John or trying to fight back with him. You talked it out, I think, on your side, and were able to come to a place where you said something along the lines of like, you've said this before, or you've made this comment before, like, does it have to do with something about, you being pregnant and you needing me to slow down, or you made some comment like that. And in that moment, because I was kind of quiet and I had pulled in a little bit, I was able to sit, and then I said a little while later, maybe that is it. I'm not 100% sure right now because I'm still processing, but yes, I can recognize that right now, we're about to have a kid, and there's a lot of this like very primal kind of mothering stuff coming up for me. And I have said in the past that when you slow down and when you're more mindful and more present, it makes me feel safer. And so my response to him in that quick moment earlier, when I had said, sometimes I just need you to slow down, or I wish you would slow down, to John's point, it's like, oh, wait, light bulb, maybe that is actually what it's connected to. And so, yeah, it was a silly thing. It was a frivolous thing of just a coffee pot. But in order to get to the deeper place, we had to come at it from like a talk it out, not get defensive. Because otherwise it becomes about the coffee pot, and it becomes about insults, and it becomes about talking over each other and screaming, and it goes from 0 to 10. And that's not really what it was.
Yeah, and I was thinking when she said you need to slow down, maybe what I heard was you're not going to be a good dad, right? So a lot of times people will say something, and what you're hearing, because we choose to hear what we choose to hear, and also there's stuff happening underneath that we're not aware of. So in this time, us having a baby and the anxiety of that, and of course us going through our own journey, having our own fears, what is my partner going to fall short on, all of that stuff, right? That's normal. And so if I have insecurities of possibly, leaving my daughter on the roof of a car next to my coffee, and she says you need to slow down, maybe what I'm hearing is you're not going to be a good father. And so think about it. If someone says you left the coffee pot in the dishwasher and you ruined the cap, that's probably not going to bother you. But if someone says you're not a good father, and if that's important to you, that's going to really bother you, right? So when you're getting into arguments, whether it's with your partner or friends or whatever, be aware of what is triggering you, and then before you react, find out where it's coming from. Because once you realize where it's coming from, then you could take ownership, right? Then you could realize, oh, it's not what she said, it's how I'm taking it.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I can see, on my side of it, obviously the part that I'm owning is if that is some kind of underlying concern, which I think it is. I mean, I think naturally it would be, whether it's you or anybody. I need to do some more exploring in that, and also be more communicative in what the fear is, and be more open with expressing that to you rather than letting it kind of fester, or me be anxious about it or dwell on it, and then it comes out, in like a passive aggressive comment.
Yes. And so this was just a fun idea that I had as I was sitting down to do another episode, to bring her in and talk about this quote-unquote fight we had. I hope you got something out of it, and if not, just a reminder that usually it's not about what's on the surface, but it's about things running underneath, and whatever is coming up for you that is creating the emotion that you may or may not be able to control. Follow the thread down, and you'll realize, or once you realize where it's coming from, then you could actually understand what's going on, and then be less reactive and less angry, less hurt. So even though we had this fight a few days ago, maybe we could have makeup sex now.
You've already gotten that.
Thank you for listening. Be well. Hey, if you have a passion to help others and want to become a life coach, or you just want to acquire tools to change your own life, learn more about our Catalyst Life Coaching Intensive. We are an evidence-based training program with an amazing, authentic, vibrant community, and we give lifetime support. Just go to my website, theangrytherapist.com, and click on Life Coach Training. Hey, before you go, if you like my ramblings and revelations and shares, I am now texting people directly to their phone. Just go to my website, theangrytherapist.com. If you want to subscribe, I'll be doing weekly text, 5 days a week, reminders, and also mindsets and exercises and challenges. And every week there will be a different theme, a different topic. So I hope to see you in your phone. And also, if you enjoyed this conversation, I hope you help me spread the dialogue and help other people by sharing it. You never know what people need to hear. So if it's helped you, I hope you can help me help others.